So it is a 2004 Nissan 350Z.
What's up, guys? We are out here at Apple Valley Speedway. We're with Tony Crispin right here, and it's a crisp morning.
Yeah, yeah, it really is.
See what I did there?
Yeah,
see what I did there?
Clever.
He's been out to a couple of our events before. Absolute ripper, absolute grassroots drifting enthusiast, freaking event organizer, always shredding over here. You would never think that this beautiful car right here is beaten as hard as it is. It looks so nice right now, so I'm super stoked, dude. The car looks amazing.
Thank you.
New wrap, right?
Yeah. Big thanks to Define Wraps. They're one of my big sponsors.
Define Wraps.
They encourage me to go out here, thrash on this thing, so that they can, clean it up and make it look good every so often.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, guys, we're gonna hop into his car right now. Before we do, we like to get to know the person behind the wheel, right? So, Tony, tell us about yourself, man. The 350Z, is this your first drift car? How long have you been into this thing, man?
So I've been involved in drifting in one way or another since 2008, 2009.
Wow.
So coming up on like 15 years or so.
Right on.
Typical teenage kid. I had a handful of rusted out 240s. Nothing too special. I ended up taking a break after a while just because I couldn't afford it, as most teenagers can't. Came back full circle after taking a break, did some life things.
Yeah.
And my whole goal when I got back into drifting was to get something that I could thrash on and actually get good at it, right? Because I had lots of project cars over the years, the motor swaps and the builds and the this and the that, and it was never enough seat time. It was always just a car sitting on jack stands. So
building
over and over again, and never really enjoying.
Yeah.
So that's why I set my sights on a 350Z. If you guys don't know, these things are tanks. They don't need a ton to go out and have fun, and that's why I bought this thing. I've had this car for about 2 years now. I've probably driven 30, maybe 35 events.
Dude,
and
30, 35?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's awesome. Heck yeah.
So over
cool.
30 events in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Probably like 15,000 street miles. The car's been to 4 different states.
Okay.
Mostly with me behind the wheel, not on a trailer.
Okay.
It's been around. It's fulfilled everything I've wanted out of what you would call a seat time car. Just in the last couple months, it's kind of starting to evolve into something else.
Love it.
Stoked.
I love it, dude. So you said these things are tanks. From what I know, a lot of people will upgrade parts on their car.
Yeah.
Of course, they're Nissans, right?
Right.
To 350Z parts, right? The trans.
Yeah.
What are some of the common things that are upgraded that make this thing the tank?
So, like a lot of 240 guys, right, will run 350Z trans, 350Z diff.
Yeah.
They're just super strong. And then the car itself, like the doors are heavy. Yeah. I've been crashed into more than once. Not these doors; these are brand new. But the old doors.
Look at those brand new doors right there.
Multiple times, like hard hits, totally caved in, and I can still roll the window up and down.
Wow.
When I had windows.
Right.
The front has seen 3 or 4 crashes, and I bought this car salvaged, and it was crashed before me.
Okay.
So all of that, and there's like no frame damage, nothing structural.
Phenomenal.
You can still line it straight. So that's what I mean. Because like I said, I've owned 240s, and you look at them wrong, and the frame rail's bent.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There's no lies. That's what it is. That's what it is. It was a different kind of era of car.
Right.
And the safety features in a sports car, right? Because the 350Z was the Nissan's sports car.
Right.
And it still is. They had to make those things reliable, right?
Yeah.
So interesting. Yeah, dude. So this is the car. This is the, as you said, seat time car. What does that mean?
It really just means I can get out there and go enjoy it, right? I really don't work on this car very often. Obviously, I do cool things to it and little upgrades here and there. But as far as actually going to the track, I just show up and I drive, change tires. That's about it. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I was at an event and I actually had to fix something, unless it was my own fault for crashing into a friend or something.
Right.
That was the whole point of buying this car. It's done it great. And it's given me the opportunity to get better and better at drifting and to just go out and have a ton of fun.
Well, that's amazing, dude. I love that, man. I don't know if this is a good time to jump into it, but Tony's doing some really cool stuff right now. Terra Crew's hopefully going to be involved in the future in some capacity. He's, well, you know what? I'll just let him kind of take it away and tell you guys about that. Tony, tell us what you've been working on.
So as I mentioned, this car is slowly evolving from spec cage, and that was all for me to chase my dreams of getting into competitive drifting.
Yeah.
And that led me down this road of hosting events and eventually hosting competitive drift events, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool story. I had been turned down multiple times at some bigger competitive level driving events because I didn't have the experience.
Yeah.
Which is fair, it's totally true.
Yeah.
I've got the seat time, but I don't have the comp experience. So I decided...
So how do you get it?
Right, yeah, how do you get it if
how
you
do you
turned down?
It's kind of like, you know, you graduate from college, right? And they're like, "Oh, you don't have an experience." But you're like, "But I'm well, how do I get it?"
Right.
Teach me how, you know?
Exactly.
And it's nothing bad. It's like, well, here so it's almost like you're offering a way.
Right.
You're offering a way to get that experience, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, so go on, my friend.
So that's what our drift events are. And going into the 2024 season, we have a full season booked of competitive drift events called Drift Roulette, if I didn't mention that already. And it was literally that. It's because I was turned down at big competitive events over and over again, all last year.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, screw it. If there's no home for me, then I can't be the only one. So that's what I'm setting out to create, is a place for people to go and gain that experience in a competitive environment, have a ton of fun, grow as a driver, so that if they do want to chase those dreams of bigger and better, you know, competitions, they can.
Yeah.
And I'm super stoked on that. It's kind of been my little baby brainchild that's grown over the last year, and next year is looking really good.
And you and your buddy, Alex, you and Alex are kind of heading this together, right?
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah. Well, right on, man.
He has the same story I do, Alex. You know, same thing. He has an even more competitive car than I do, so same. Like, he has no reason to get turned down.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the experience. So that is the reason, right? So when I kind of came to him with this idea, he said, "Hell yeah, I'm in the same boat. Let's do it." And we both just kind of ran with it, and it's worked out really well so far. And I can't wait to see what next year holds.
So have you guys had any events yet?
Yeah, so we had our first actual competitive event was last month in November.
Okay.
And it was a great turnout. Sold out right away. We had a ton of spectators. Everybody had a bunch of fun. And funny enough, 2 of the 3 cars on podiums were Z's.
Really?
And that's exactly what I was going for, was people who don't really have the competition experience. They don't have a crazy
budget to build like a crazy car, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm setting out to do, is to give people an environment to learn in where you don't need a crazy race car. You don't need a $1,000 fire suit and shoes and gloves and this and that. And like, be safe out there. Don't.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. But dude, this is for those of you that have known Terra Crew for a long time, that is like spot on, I think, to what we try to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're not really too much about the competition, and I love that you guys are doing that. I do. We are eventually going to start moving into that with some of our events with off-road, and who knows, maybe Tony will help us with one of our events in the future with some sort of comp stuff. But overall, creating a place for people to come have fun, come rip, and it doesn't need to be to that certain degree just yet, right? And there's a lot of people who maybe are not even aspiring to go there yet. They just want to just go rip and be competitive amongst their friends within their own vehicle class or their skill level. Maybe that's where it's at. I kind of feel like that's like punk rock in a sense, you know what I mean? They don't want to sell out the stadium. They want to stay hardcore. They want to stay at Chain Reaction. Like, they want to stay at like the small venues, you know what I mean? And they want to party with the boys, because I noticed a couple cars that were at the event that I've never really seen in competition, but those guys can rip.
Yeah.
Those guys can rip, dude.
Exactly.
So very cool, man. Well, sorry for ranting so much about that. I think it's super cool.
Thank you.
We'll keep an eye on Tony and his boys. Hopefully head out to some of his events. If not, we'll have a filmer out there to capture some of it. We'll do a little rap about it and talk about it. But yeah, thanks, man. I think what you're doing is a really good thing for the community. And I think it's going to create some waves and inspire other people to do the same. And I think the scene is so big that there's so many people that want to do it, right? And it's just the promotion and just kind of getting it out there. So
yeah, exactly.
Either way, awesome. Can't wait to see it, dude. Let's hop into this bad boy.
Let's do it.
All right, so tell us about your car, man. Make, model, year. I know you've mentioned salvage. Tell us.
So it is a 2004 or 5, all the same, Nissan 350Z. I bought it as a salvage car. with the motor tucked under a sheet on the other side of some dude's garage.
Yes.
Unknown history, and it was a super good deal.
That sounds like drift roulette right there, dude. It sounds like you're gambling right there, my boy.
Exactly what it is. That's kind of where the name came from. Is this has all been a gamble and it's all paid off. So,
dude.
Yeah, totally unknown history. I put it together, did some little maintenance stuff, and it's been the same motor since. Like I said, 2 years, 30 plus events, 15,000 something miles. No issues. Well, it smokes a little on cold start, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, let's just forget about that.
Yeah, no big deal. But
Right on.
like I said, that's what makes the 350Z so good as an introductory seat time car, and even as, a grassroots level competitive car.
Yeah.
I haven't really done much to the motor. Like, we'll get into it a bit more because I've done a few little things, but overall, it's pretty stock, and it gets down, and I can keep up with the faster guys. It takes little tricks here and there, but really, like,
a little more runway, but you'll get there. You'll get there.
There's not a ton of cars out there that you can really hop into and not do much and have as much fun as I have in this thing. So if you're thinking about getting into drifting, look into Z's.
This is the tank, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
This is I always say the 350Z. I mean, I'm looking to get a 350Z.
There you go.
I'd love for that to be my real seat time car.
Yeah.
I have an S13 and I love it very much, but I'm scared.
Yes.
I'm scared to break it. I'm not good. I should have never gotten that car first. That was the worst choice I've ever made.
Right.
Not in a bad way. I love the car. God knows I love it. My kids love it. But dude, I should have got a Z. It's like the Ranger. It's like beams, right? It's like putting, I'm talking to off-road people because, I mean, maybe some of you guys are watching, but it's like I-beams, right? Like, dude, you could beat the crap out of those things. And maybe, you got some Ford powertrain issues, but for the most part, you dial those things in and you're ready to rip and you just keep going out and having a good time. And that's what it sounds like these Zs are. Like he said, a seat time car. So you got that, car's been running, and that's where we're at now. What's your angle kit on this thing?
So for angle, I actually have GK Tech's bolt-on kit. It's the cheapest angle kit you can buy for a 350Z.
Love it.
And as we talk more about it, you'll see that's a reoccurring theme here, because when I started this build, I was in college, didn't have a lot of money, and I think I hadn't even had a job at the time.
Let's go, dude.
So it was like, how cheap can I get out on track? That's what this car was initially. So it's been the same angle kit since day one. It's literally like a $200 off-the-shelf bolt-on affair. All stock arms.
This is what the people want to hear, my boy.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
This is what's up.
If you want something strong, like, yes, the big angle's sick. The $2,000-$3,000 stuff is really cool, but you don't need it. And you'll learn, like, if you do get into drifting, if you have a ton of angle in a car that doesn't have a lot of power, it slows you down, right? You're better off driving with not as much angle, and that's exactly what this kit is.
Speed and momentum.
Yeah, I recommend this kit to anyone who's thinking about it because it's so simple. It uses stock tie rods, stock arms, so if I go out there and bend something, I can just go to AutoZone and buy a replacement part, and it's not a big deal.
Boom! Boom! This is awesome. This is exactly what we want to say. Dude, Tony is telling the story of why I've fallen in love with drifting so much.
Yes.
Not just because it's cheap, but because seat time, right? Something I'm learning about. And on top of that, damn, bro, like, you could really go run one of these things for under 10 G's.
Easy.
And absolutely rip. So anyways, talk about that later. Thank you, Tony.
Of course.
Listen to Uncle Tony, okay, guys? Hell yeah, dude. Very cool. So GK Tech kit. Very cool.
That's
awesome.
I have that. I spent a little bit of extra money on some Part Shop Max upper control arms.
Okay.
Just to get a little bit more front camber because I like the way it makes the car feel.
Okay.
Totally not necessary, but why not?
Yeah.
Some other upgrades that unnecessary but look cool, like this thing had a big brake kit from a 370Z.
Okay.
That was just because it looked cool and why not?
Right.
But yeah.
Braking's good.
Yeah, super important. That's really it as far as like the front suspension goes. This thing is a set of really cheap Megan coilovers that actually came on the car.
Okay.
They came with the car. I was like, I don't have to spend the money. Again, like I said, when I got this, I didn't even have a job. So I was
Does it work?
Coilovers, they work, and they've been on the car
go.
ever since. They're
Hell
not
yeah.
the best, but they're definitely not the worst.
Would you mind, like, would you be able to start the car and maybe turn it so we can kind of see
let's take a
something?
look at it.
All right, let's do it. Okay. All right, Tony, let's see it, my boy.
So if you kind of poke your head down in here,
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that too well, but you can see stock tie rod bolted to that little GK Tech tie rod adapter thing. And literally all it does is change the pickup point of where the tie rod bolts to the knuckle.
Yeah.
And that gives you just a little bit more angle. It's really all you need. The car feels great because it's not like super over modified.
Yeah.
It drives really natural. And yeah, it's like I said, it's solid.
What else can we go over here? Your wheels?
Things up, and it kind of makes me sad because they're sick wheels.
Because they're awesome wheels, yeah.
They are, not super happy. They still hold air. They don't balance, but that doesn't matter. But yeah, the Volinos, again, these things are about as strong as the Z is. They've seen curbs, they've seen other cars.
Yeah.
No issues there.
How's your alignment on this thing? Like, is that something you often kind of dabble with, or do you have a friend that you go with?
I bring toe plates to every event, and I leave them in the back of my truck and never take them out.
Okay.
That's kind of how things go here.
Okay.
I maybe align it once or twice a year, depending on how often I drive and how serious the driving is. Or the last time I did an alignment was like 8 months ago.
And you just go for it. Dude, this guy's the spirit animal, dude. Let's go. The spirit animal of seat time, the Shredder Tony.
Right, yeah.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
It's one of those things that I'll go out on track, drive it down the main straight, give it a little shake, and I'm like, feels good.
We're good. Let's go. Let's get the hell out of here.
Don't
Let's
need
send
anything
it.
more than that.
Hell yeah. And then stock motor. Any mods to the motor?
Yeah,
Anything you want to share?
I'll pop the hood.
Let's do it.
A couple of cool little bits here. I lost my hood prop, so I'm just going to hold it up for you guys.
Here, I'll be your hood prop.
Okay.
There you go. Tell us, my boy.
So, the showpiece of this engine bay is the Kinetics intake manifold.
Okay.
This thing, I claims to add like 20 or 30 horsepower. I don't know if it does, but it looks cool.
Oh, super cool.
That's kind of all I was after. This actually came on a salvage Z that I bought. So I have 2 salvage Zs. And I was like, that's cool. I'm going to put it on my drift car.
Yeah.
The cheapest actual like cold air intake, well, it's not really cold, but that's the cheapest one on the market, $100.
Okay.
Works great. I've never cleaned the filter.
Okay.
We won't talk about that.
We won't, but that's all right.
Other than that...
you're not off-roading. You're on the track.
No
you're fine.
Other than that, I just have simplified a couple things. Like, these have a lot of coolant lines.
Okay.
I've simplified that, got rid of quite a few. That's pretty much it.
Good old Nissan.
Yeah. Like I said, it's as simple as it gets.
So where's the hidden trumpet in here? Where's the?
It's underneath.
It's underneath.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's the one thing I didn't mention is it has stock headers, test pipes, an aftermarket Y pipe, and then a pipe about this long is the cat bag.
All right.
That's why it's so obnoxiously loud.
That's why it's just like ready to rip in the orchestra.
Yeah, 100%.
Hell yeah. Pretty clean, man. Does not look like you've been smashing the hell out of it like you do, my friend.
Yeah. I try to keep things clean just because it's easier to work on that way. Not that I work on it, so I guess it doesn't matter too much.
Got it. Let's go. I love it, dude. The more I hear about the Z, the more I want to be part of the Z life, man. Very cool.
It's not a bad life.
It sounds like a great life. So wait, do you have anything about like, I know a lot of guys do things with like tire pressure and stuff. Like, are you just like a 35 PSI kind of guy?
I definitely check pressures more often than not, and that is really just because I'm budget conscious. And if you run the right tire pressures, you can make tires last way longer.
What's your secret sauce?
It kind of depends on the tire. Like I said, shout out to Volino and Vitor.
Yeah,
another big tire on board with us. If I run Vitors, I'll usually start at like 40 PSI because they're kind of grippy.
Okay.
And then as they wear down, I'll just drop the pressures down until I'm at the end of the day on like almost old tires at 15 PSI.
Wow.
And they feel as good as they did when they were brand new. So that's a trick if you want your tires to last. Don't keep them aired up all day because you will destroy them.
Okay. All right.
Again, that's just because I'm cheap.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Take us through the back of this thing. What's up with
the rear? As far as the suspension goes, there's definitely a little bit more money spent here.
Okay.
And really, it's all for tire consumption. So it has most adjustable arms, like toe arms, camber arms, traction rods. And that's all to get the alignment in check so that my tires wear evenly, so they last longer.
Yeah.
Don't look at that tire. That's a bad example.
We're not gonna look at that guy. We're gonna look at this over here.
Yeah. That one over there is good.
Heck yeah.
Another trick part we have is Part Shop Max drop knuckles. I have all Part Shop Max arms except for their angle kick. It's kind of cheap.
Okay.
But the drop knuckles in the rear are really cool. It actually changes where the suspension pickup points are on the knuckles, so like where the wheel's at, lowers them down. Just again to improve suspension geometry. It gives the car a little bit more forward drive and drift, and it makes my tires last longer.
Right on, man.
And it added a sick pickup point for dual calipers.
Okay.
So if you take a look at the brakes, you have 2 big old 370Z Brembos. So obviously one for normal driving, one for the hydro.
Tony, anything else we got to talk about with this car?
We can take a quick look inside.
Let's do it.
Like I said, a few months ago, this car kind of evolved from the seat time machine it was into something a bit more competitive, and that's where the roll cage came in, the gutted doors came in.
Okay.
And again, that's just me following my dream of one day getting into some serious competitive driving. Shout out to Cage Kits. This roll cage is from them.
Okay.
Unbeatable. Literally, you order this thing, it shows up on a pallet. Everything's bent, notched, marked. You just stick it together and weld it.
Hell yeah.
As easy as it gets. Don't mind that I haven't painted it yet. We're working on that.
Right on.
Other than that,
Well, you live in the desert. There's no salt out here.
yeah,
no
true.
salt in there.
It's
No
been like
humidity.
this for months and no rust.
Yeah, it looks great.
Other than that, we have a Brid or Bride seat, one of my favorites. Cheap eBay seat on that side for the passenger.
Let's go.
It's old school Nardi from the 90s and some flashy Part Shop Max shift knob and hydro. Shout out to Dynamic Weapon Solutions. They're the ones that did the Sarah coating on that.
Dude, that looks sick.
Yeah.
Hey,
Killed it on
Pedro from DWS, man. That's the homie right there,
Right?
man. Well, right on, Tony. Well, thank you, man. So, what's next for you, man?
Like I said,
Before we end this thing,
yeah, so
what's next for you, my
the
friend?
next big thing is just Drift Roulette, my own competitive drifting series, taking
Yeah.
off next year. Like I said, we have a full series planned with 4 events throughout the year.
Where can people find you and find that info?
So they can find me on Instagram at Tony Crispin. They
Okay.
can also find me on YouTube at Tony Crispin.
We'll put it right here.
Thank you.
This is where we're gonna
Appreciate
put it.
that.
Yeah.
But all the events info can be found on my Instagram if you guys want to sign up. Like I said, you don't need to be a super skilled competitive drifter. You don't have to have a crazy car. You don't even need a roll cage.
Yeah.
Just come out, have fun, get your feet wet, see what competition's like. I guarantee it'll make you a better driver.
That's what's up. Hell yeah, Tony. Well, thank you for what you're doing, man. I think you found a need in the community, and you and your boys are helping fulfill that. So, very cool. Well, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I think it's time to drive.
Let's do it.
Let's go, dude. Have a good one, man. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you.
Hope you guys are enjoying these Tuesday episodes. We're bringing back to 2 episodes a week. Good stuff. We'll see you guys then. Later.